What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 17 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Tzarina Katarin Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have, or ended off last time, I should say, we've got more wars on hand as Epidemius has redeclared war on us, though that was unsurprising and we were preparing for it for quite a bit. So we'll just have to deal with it. The unfortunate aspect of this, however, is that Archaon declared war on us as well. I guess all of the Nurgling forces want to go at us here, and the problem with this is that we saw Archaon a couple of turns ago, and he was moving down here somewhere, presumably in his fight against Goldtooth, so he could be here. In theory, he could move around like this and attack us through our Darklands buffer. Of course, they will be able to slow him down, but they probably wouldn't be able to stop him, and we'd have to then raise an army at the Silver Pinnacle to defend it, since we don't have defenses there at the current time. The other problem with this is that he's got territory here and the orcs have territory down here, so without piecing out with one of them, we will get attacked from the other direction. Fortunately, though, we do have the option. Port of Secrets was something we were originally going to give to Malice or potentially Epidemius, but with the proximity of Tamarkan here, we could give it to him for peace. I think it's probably now pointless to peace out with Epidemius, because he does have territory that we want, even if we are at war with him in a lot of places. So, let's try this. Port of Secrets to Tamarkan. Peace, and is it just enough? It's just enough. Wait, what about the other stuff? Crystal Spires? No, not enough. Ice Spewer? Okay, no, we wouldn't give him Ice Spewer anyway. Blizzard Peak, we wouldn't give him that anyway. Yeah. The reason I wanted to give him Port of Secrets first anyway was because it was the only finished thing. Volcano's Heart and the Crystal whatevers are both damaged, and thus wouldn't be worth nearly as much. So yeah, we can give him the Port of Secrets and then return to it after, I guess. And it'll be 10 turns, and I'm sure he'll redeclare war on us, but we have bigger fish to fry, even if Tamarkan on Bubabolos is the biggest fish in all the land. Balance offer, 100 money. But yeah, immediate peace with you. We'll keep fighting with Tamarkan. Now we can start on moving. Tzarina Katarin, so you were giving chase to Archie, and I think last episode we saw that, yeah, we can't reach Gulgas the Cleaver. However, the AI did something foolish here, and the foolish thing is this. If we move to Pillar of Skulls and occupy it, like so, we can, I think, let me just try this, leave the settlement. If we leave the settlement like that, this has happened to the AI before, the AI can't actually move because now, while the Pillar of Skulls isn't exerting a zone of control because it has no units in it, Tzarina Katarin is. Therefore, these guys are stuck unless they kill us. Let's immediately upgrade the Pillar of Skulls, and I guess we should upgrade, 700, okay, you know what, we might need the money, wait. Let's move everybody up here first. I guess it'll have to be in March stance. You can go to, I guess, the Pillar of Skulls? It doesn't really matter who. You know what? I want this army to survive more than the other army. Let's put the you here, the you, and let's put the you right, I don't know, right here. I'm just going to assume that you're still in range of Tzarina Katarin here. It's kind of hard to tell, honestly, because she's on that sled, and the sled is pretty big, as in the model is, but I can't quite tell where her circle is. I think it's fine. I hope it's fine. If Medora Nasinov gets killed because of this, well, I guess that's my fault. Anyway, you stay there, buddy, and we'll see how that all shapes up. Yeah, alright, who's up next? Let's see, Vladimir Mikheyev. Yes, you got this little rebellion here. Would you possibly be able to travel immediately to Howling Citadel? No. If we were, I probably would have done that, but I guess let's tear down this rebellion real quick and auto-resolve it. Please don't hurt the Frostworms too badly. No, we're fine. And we'll take the money for this as well. Alright, decent amount of cash, which we certainly need. And Obsidian Trinket, Spell Resistance, Vodka Distiller. You are going to go into Encamp, and then head right here to hopefully attack the Howling Citadel then next turn. Okay, Gothair, I see that Daniel has not revived. Ooh, he's got some good stuff, though. The Bilious Thunder Guff and the Weird Spawn, both single entities that would be relatively tough for this army to deal with, but nonetheless, Vladimir, even though you have a basic army, you've won against some very tough odds over the course of the campaign, and I still expect great things. Victor Zamvin. Alright, so if we're not fighting Tamarkan right now and thus proceeding to Challenge Stone, what we will do is proceed down to Gorger Rock. I think we're going to try going this way. And we're going to see if we can't force... Whoa! Damn, he's spamming Black Orcs now. Okay, that's not good. And that's not good because we don't have enough armor piercing in this army to deal with them. It'll be a little bit better once the cannons are on the field, but nonetheless, a bit of an issue. Irogny, you're going to go into channeling stance. You're going to head right here. Maybe we can ambush the set of Black Orcs before we take out a Gorger Rock. Though that is kind of concerning. If Grimgor takes up a full stack of Black Orcs in the manner that this guy's doing here, it's most definitely going to be an issue for us. I guess they're building it out of Carrick Vrag. We need to prioritize destroying Carrick Vrag so he loses the capability of building those troops. Anyway, let's see who's up next. Irogny's moved. Igor Talichev, you are heading up to the Sarl encampment, so go right to the edge of our territory here. I'm gonna hope you can channel over the end turn. You don't have a mage yet, but you will. Alright, good for you. And Mother Ostankia is still on the way. Actually, speaking of Mother Ostankia, how are the Hag Witches? Grief-stricken, tormented? No, still... Damn it. Still looking for that nature spirit affinity. A Recruiter Talichev. I guess you don't really... Okay, you don't really need to be anywhere at the current time, do you? Yeah, okay, you're fine. Gaspar... Oh, right. We summoned you with the idea of possibly building some defensive Cossars if Epidemius comes here. What we really should do is try to send a scout out here. We could build a Patriarch for this particular purpose. Oh, but we can't build one here, damn. The one territory where we built no churches. Oh well. Beledna, and the crit failure. To the Bleakhold Fortress, please. And 3 again, eh? Or we could wait for a couple turns. You know what, just wait there. I feel like we don't have a lot of money right now and we need to make use of it. What we do want to build, though, is Erengrad, specifically the harbor and the Grand Market. There is also this stuff to build, but that we can do once the Woodworkers Guild and stuff are up and running for that additional construction cost. Atamans, we have the construction reducer here. No, we have the construction time man here. Construction reducer is all the way here. To be fair, the harbor itself isn't expensive, but these buildings kind of are. On the other hand, I'm not 100% sure how worth it is to send the reducer guy down for only the one building when he's building up a ton of stuff. Though here, I suppose he's not super needed. At least not right now. Oh, how are we doing here? You're gonna come up, but this is actually not that much of a reduction. And wait, who's got the... You've got the greatest growth bonuses, right? Plus 60 growth from you. This guy's plus 40 growth, but he reduces everything to 1 turn in terms of construction time. Might actually be more worth it. Construction cost for ports faction-wide. We've got upkeep production for war sleds and little groms. We were going to build some more war sleds and little groms for a couple of armies. And it increases capacity. Oh, in fact, both things here increase capacity. That's not so bad. I'm just checking where, if anywhere, we need the construction reducer man more. I guess we will need one here. I mean, we'll need one here at the Frozen Landing as well. I guess you could just say here, because next turn, or we could come back here. How often do we really want to swap them around? We also lose out on a little bit of money every time we swap because they increase the money generated. So if you're building less than one building, it's not always worth it. This place actually has terrible control, so considering you're providing plus 6 controls at -2, maybe you're fine. You know what? I think everything's fine, or at the very least the Atamans are fine. I'm just not sure about the rest. Alright, what else do we have this turn? I guess we don't have money anymore to build anything up. Vladimir will knock out the Howling Citadel next turn, and hopefully we'll catch Archie and start proceeding to destroy the Cool and the rest of Archaon's territories. I would like to check Diplo before we end the turn, however. Ally missions. I wanted to see where Gulgas the Cleaver is now. Oh, wait. Oh, he's up here with you. Oh, okay, no, we're fine then. I take it that... these can't be Archaon's only armies. He probably has another stack somewhere, so we'll have to watch out for it. But he only does have 4 territories, so we should be able to put him on the back foot real quick if this whole gambit succeeds. Skip building upgrade available, damage building, and turn. And, unless I'm mistaken, we were at 597 out of 600 supporters. So, at the end of this turn, we should get the Orthodoxy Confederation option. Also, while the turn is ending, as usual, once again we did make the engagement threshold, just barely so, but made it nonetheless. The likes were over, but the comments were just... Wait, no. The likes were under, but the comments were over. If just slightly in each. Either way, we'll be doing an hour-long episode this time around, and the offer still stands. No war with you. The offer still stands. 300 likes and 50 comments, and the next episode will be an hour-long as well. Alrighty, and here's the end turn. Let's see if we get that Confederation. Blue Vipers, what the heck are you doing? Oh, short victory. Oh, wait, short victory's tied to Confederation, meaning... We did get the Confederation, meaning more control... construction time, which is great. Huh. With the construction time minus 50%, and this guy minus 40%, basically, wherever this guy is, he guarantees everything is built at 1 turn, effectively. Short victory complete, and there it is. The Ice Court rules supreme. The spiritual conflict is over, and the devotion of Kislev's folk is unquestionable. The Ice Court rules supreme. The Great Orthodoxy has lost its influence and power, and will become just another instrument of the Tzarina's burgeoning reign. War declared on the Great Orthodoxy. Why would anybody do this? Oh, no, but actually, why would... I feel like if you do this, you should have some kind of massive bonuses. Like, I just don't see the point of this option even existing. I mean, I guess if you just want to fight Kislev on Kislev, but yeah, I feel like like, generally, if you want good design, you want choices like this to actually to actually make you think, oh man, this is a hard decision. On the one hand, Confederation, on the other hand, the buffs from this are so good, I don't know if I can skip out on them, but it's basically nothing versus something, Confederation. And Radi Pojarski gains a warhorse. Province secured the cursed city. Ah, beautiful. Prague is back up and running. What do we have here, incidentally? We have the War Bear Cav building, which is great, though our money dropped by like 2.5k. More Frostworm capacity, which is also great, because I wanted a couple Frostworms for the Beastly army. What else do we have here? Sleds and Groms, good. The Orthodoxy Citadel here will probably need to be destroyed. Ooh, we can build Streltsy out of this. That's nice. Alright, market is appropriate, construction cost building is appropriate, and... Why do you have 2 Streltsy buildings? A Citadel of Prague plus the regular Streltsy building? This doesn't serve too much of a purpose here. Alright, and we got Kastalton. Hey, another Frost Witch. So we got Kastalton's Frost Witch and this Frost Witch as well. Ice Maiden, Frost Maiden. Oh, for the love of... It's difficult. Yeah, there we go. Ally loses outpost. Recruiter Talichev. You know what I should have done? I should have moved you here in anticipation of Kastalton being recruited. Actually, speaking of Kastalton, we need to find out 2 things. First of all, what does he have? Do we need to reset him? And by the looks of it, we do, but we can use... Actually, it's not horrible. He has the Episcop Battalion buff here via firing drills, and Best of the Court for the Acolytes of Ursun, and Skilled Craftsman for the Little Groms and Light Warsleds. It's actually fairly solid. The main issue is that he doesn't have this thing. Does he have any... faction-wide stuff? He has devotion gained from successful here. More Kossar buffs? Why must everybody buff Kossars? Hero recruit rank for Patriarchs, all provinces. That's not bad at all. Howling Rage. Income from raising settlements, Firebrand recruitment costs. Funnily enough, he'd be a better recruiter than the recruiter, but he doesn't have the recruitment buff. Okay, Gestalton. And, so... He only buffs Episcop Battalion, but does not buff the Acolytes of Ursun? That's kind of surprising. I feel like Kastalton should buff the Acolytes of Ursun. Am I wrong here? Does anybody disagree with that? Just Episcop Battalion alone is a little bit unfortunate, considering we can't build them. We have one. We have one that's with that army that's beside Tzarina Katarin. And he doesn't seem to buff any other units whatsoever. Because we're not giving him Kossars. We have enough Kossars. Ooh. Construction plus 300% for Hallowed Wood. But income plus from buildings plus 10% faction-wide. Oh, I see, this is an interesting choice. This is what I'm talking about, good design. It's a massive cost increase to one type of building, but generally speaking, a reduction to another building and income faction-wide increase, basically. That's a great thing. And I'm not sure whether we'll take it or not. And depending on how many Hallowed Woods we want to build. Interesting. Either way, yeah. What is... Okay, Supreme Patriarch also buffs Episcopatum. Oh, damn. Huh. Okay, this is kind of interesting. He gives Frenzy to the entire army. In fact, because he gives Frenzy to the entire army, Castelton is... Okay, it's not really an anti-buff, I don't know what to call it, but... Acolytes of Urson already have Frenzy, and Warbear Riders do as well, meaning to put those in this army would be kind of a waste. As odd as this might seem, I think I'm gonna make him the Streltsy army commander. I was originally gonna have Beledna the Defender do that, but he already has some Streltsy and a light war sled, and giving Frenzy to the Streltsy will make them better in melee for the times that they have to fight in melee. And since he only has the one, he only has the one Episcop battalion here. Just gotta make sure not to get it killed. Huh? Wait, did you move further away, or did I put you this far? Is it me, or does this guy feel further away than he was before?
You are but a peasant.
Wait, yeah, well, he was in the Pillar of Skulls when we confederated him, and then he decided to leave it once. Okay, well, whatever. Army decided to move... What? Oh, it's a caravan. Okay, a convoy, whatever. That freaked me out for a second that they had gotten into the middle of our territories. Okay, how do we do this? First of all, I don't imagine we'll be needing the Kossars with shields and the sabers in this army. We will... I guess the question is, will we be putting any Acolytes of Urson in his army, considering the Frenzy is wasted on them and Castelton doesn't buff them? I'm just wondering whether we should reset his skills in order to get some of this stuff. I mean, the main thing out of all this that we want, the only things that are faction-wide that are really significant to us is... I mean, the recruitment cost is fine. Actually, none of this is really faction-wide, is it? It's only the hero recruit rank for Patriarchs. We could hold off on this and reset him later if we decide to do that. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. Don't bother resetting him. Castelton, move here. We're going to send Recruiter Talichev your way, then we're going to use him to recruit, and we can power up his recruitment a little bit further. He already has a Step Shepherd, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken. Alright, there's going to be a little bit of admin here, but it's necessary. Then we can give another Step Shepherd to you. And then we can give another Step Shepherd to you. Like so. These three will reduce the construction or recruitment cost even further, and we'll start up on Streltsy army. Besides, at least this way we'll be seeing Streltsy a lot earlier than I had anticipated, because we gotta get Castelton out there on the field. Mother Stankia, check the Grief-Stricken. Double up on Grief-Stricken, really? I'm almost tempted to take a... Spirit Haunted, Spirit... Oh, for the love... If it was at least Hagwitch of Beasts, but Shadows doesn't work for Mother Stankia in particular. I really want that Nature Spirit affinity on her, but at 400 gold, it's a very expensive hero for a lore that we wouldn't necessarily be wanting to use right now. Anyway, you're going up this way. Igor Talichev, you are going to take Sarl encampment.
Cut them down!
Yeah, cut them down. And we have to manually fight this. Okay, we'll manually fight this in a second. You can have the Step Shepherd thing. Wailing Banner, I think we'll want this on one of these guys. They cause neither fear nor terror, and they're always out front, in front of everybody else. Alright, that's good. We'll attack this in a second, but I'm really curious to see what's... Oh, damn, Danny's back. Danny's back for this, and Epidemius is coming. Alright, we're surrounded. We gotta get everybody moving. You, Eugene. Genie. You're gonna go here in march stance, I guess. You need to transfer the Episcop Battalion to what's his face as well, to Castelton. You...
My seat of power.
Tzarina Katarin, we want you to get the... Yeah, you attack. And Archie's gonna run, but I... Don't you go... Okay, I thought he was gonna go around the mountain. I was like, oh no, don't you dare. Do this here as well. You're gonna run as well, but now you'll both be destroyed as soon as you shatter. Do we want Archie to come in as a reinforcement towards the main line? We could destroy the bigger army before. We'll still get the defeat rate either way. And at least this way we won't have to move as far. Alright, either way, I think I want you two nearby because you'll be leeching XP. Though actually, I don't actually care about you leeching XP. I'm almost tempted to transfer all of the units to... Yeah, whatever. I'll do it later. And just to cut down on the admin a little bit. Okay, wait. I do want you in range so that we can... He's in range, right? I can't tell. I can't see the arrow. Okay, well, I'm just gonna assume that he has attack. And yes, indeed it is. So maybe we'll actually see the Episcop Battalion in action a little bit. They're basically a magical damage dealing support unit, a little bit of armor piercing, but relatively low in the way of protection, shielded but low HP as a support unit. And they have the Red War Chant, which Patriarchs provide anyway. Huh. I mean, with Frenzy and Castalton's army, they should be a little bit stronger, but generally speaking, you're probably better off using a Patriarch than one of these guys, because the Patriarchs have all the abilities and the ability to carry items and are on a War Bear. And are probably going to be a lot more tanky than these guys. Anyway, this is Archie's army. Let's knock him out. Go.
Fight with bravery and honor. Do not disappoint Ursun, Salyak, Dash, and Thor.
And even the camera has trouble keeping up with Tzarina Katarin on that sleigh, at least when it's not near the ground. Anyway, here we go. Sorry, Archie, but, well, you've got to go. Though I do love you so. Anyway, Tzarina Katarin's gonna jump on in. We're gonna try to destroy this first enemy army before Archaon and his reinforcements do arrive. Of course, we're gonna drop a blizzard while the enemy is slowed down by that ice sheet, and by the looks of it, deal fairly decent damage to some Chaos Warriors. 20 kills and 35k damage. I'd say not so bad. You also got to remember that Tzarina Katarin has that Mirror of the Ice Queen, which does a sort of AoE Mortis Engine effect damage to everybody around her as well, which could combine nicely with the Frost Worm. The only reason I haven't put her back on the Frost Worm so far is the fact is that her mount is unique. You can get a Frostworm mount on any Ice Witch lord, like Beledna the Defender and anybody else that we end up training for that particular role, whereas this sled is the only one like it. And it is quite irritating to the enemy, and amusingly so. Plus, I put all the heavy war sleds in this army, particularly because Tzarina Katarin has that sled. If it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't have these in here. Damn, up to 158 armor. Not too bad, though their melee defense could use work. Anyway, it looks like we're doing pretty okay here. Summoned a Snow Leopard to distract some Chaos Trolls. Our Ice Guard pin-cushioning some other Trolls, Forsaken and whatnot, while the enemies get held off. And by the Golden Knight, the Patriarch, and the other Frost Wizard, and our Zarguard. And get ready to move on in and help out. We got reinforcements arriving, though I'm not so sure and that they'll be needed. Tzarina's Fang and Jagadai Khan, our Our two snow leopards are working together with Tzarina Katarin to knock down the enemy lord here. And one good thing, I suppose, about the sled is the mass of it and the speed of it makes it quite difficult for enemies to run, to escape if Tzarina Katarin should desire that they not do so. Anyway, out here it looks like Archaon's reinforcements have finally arrived, and he's got a Manticore and a couple of Chaos Warhounds that are going to give chase both to the war sleds and to our winged hussars. They're going to back off, and by back off I mean run right through some bloodletters who begin to be banished, while we send Tzarina Katarin back into the fray on her sleigh. Out here the Golden Knight and co are still holding off a few units, another Chaos Sorcerer as well as some Chaos Trolls, but Archie is getting ready to move in, and that'll be a nice duel for the Golden Knight. Looks like he's going to cast a Spirit Leech on a summoned Snow Leopard. Probably not the best use of it. Oh wow, the landed arrows look really cool on this dark map, don't they? The ones that are stuck in the ground like little ice shards. Man. Anyway, our army has effectively separated itself into two, but this is sort of what this army was designed for, so that's perfectly fine. The enemy Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch is nearly down, and Tzarina Katarin continues to do her best to annoy the enemy. Manticore has to be brought down as well. It is being quite annoying to our sleds and has actually managed to do a little bit of damage, but as soon as it does land, we can simply send Tzarina's Fang and Jagatai Khan to hunt him down. They both like speed in equal measure. Anyway, Archie has arrived and is in the midst of a duel with the Golden Knight here, but of course we can keep him silenced, not casting and not using his abilities. Imagine having all the treasures of chaos and not being able to use any of them. Well, almost any of them. I guess Gorger can't be stopped that simply. And I guess technically Archaon's, his special mark of chaos is also one of the treasures, and I guess that's not really being silenced, and it's also not being represented in the game in any way, but nonetheless, it's there. You gotta trust me on that one. Anyway, the Ice Guard continue to support, and the Zarguard have moved on in to help out. Tzarina Katarin, or not Tzarina Katarin, the Golden Knight and Archie are, well, looks like Archie is winning the duel a little bit, but I'm sure that won't be quite the case shortly, as most of the rest of his army is in pretty darn bad shape. Bounce Bear has shifted to about 90, maybe 95% in our favor. The Snow Leopards have absolutely defeated the enemy Manticore, who is attempting to try to run while being maimed. I'm going to get a little bit of help from the Winged Hussars as well. Looks like everybody on Archie's team is just running, with the exception of himself and this Chaos Sorcerer, who's going to get pushed by Tzarina Katarin. And there we go. Keep whacking away, Archie, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. I do like the contrast between Archie's sort of fiery motifs and our icy ones. I'm going to back off those Zarguard, though, as they don't want to be near when Archie or when Gorger attacks. And as I noticed in my Archaon campaign, he seems to have a special stat or speed attack or something that lets him attack, it seems, a lot more than certain units. Maybe he just has a fast attack trait or something, or Gorger attacks separately. I suppose it doesn't matter, because Archie is going to book it on out of there this time around. And we will be good, as there are no chaos spawn. I got too used to the enemy, enemies having chaos spawn, and thus the battle never ending against chaos when the battle ends, you know what I mean? Anyway, a decisive victory for us, and once again on this lovely map, one of my favorite maps on the, or certainly one of my favorite choke points that is available, just because I like all of the color scheme, the contrast. The lava in the dark map looks really good. Alright, right, very nice. Once again, the Golden Knight was able to keep Archaon distracted for the entirety of the time that he was fighting, he being Archaon, and Tzarina Katarin, of course, got the lion's share of the damage and kills. The Leopard's share was pretty good as well, however, as I was impressed with the performance of the Leopards, who outdid the Ice Guard, the Tsar Guard, and the War Sleds as well, being able to hunt down enemy trolls, enemy manticore, and the enemy and one of the enemy lords or heroes as well. The Leopards, by virtue of being able to fight the types of units that they're supposed to fight rather than being forced to fight infantry and such, suddenly did a lot better and gave us a nice little showcase of what they can and will do. Pardon the Captives is what we're going to do for more cash once again, especially since the Confederation will have lost some of it. Eugene, Guyovich, you don't need that Ogre Blade, a Shrieking Blade. Not a bad pickup. No, right, I was going to take the Lichbone Pendant from you. And, you know, lose the Vodka Distiller as well. Ataman's Administrator. All units in army. We're going to put that on somebody else as well, but you can keep the Steppe Shepherd. Warhorse for you, Warhorse for you, Warhorse for you, Warhorse for everyone. And Warbear. Aborted. Could have used that Trickster's Shard, but oh well. Enemy killed, Nomad Riding Master, Veteran, Terrifying Masquerade. Wow, lots of stuff. And then there we go, Doomslayer for defeating Archie. Now, we can't really leave this Blue Viper's army here, can we? We should probably destroy it as well. And so destroy it we shall, but let's do a little bit of work / moving around / doing things. And before we do that, Vladimir Mikheyev. Alright, I'm not going to move you just in case I forget to besiege, so let's do that. Unfortunately, the ambush did fail here, but... Oh, wait. Please tell me we can... Yeah, we can still reach Gorger Rock.
Defender of Kislev.
Though admittedly it should take some work to bring it down, that should be fine. Maybe I could have had Durogny attack first, but whatever, it's all good. Alright, yeah, the Black Orcs versus these guys is certainly going to be a little bit of a harder fight than we've had. I wonder, by moving here, would you be too far? You know what, I'm not sure that we should risk it. Let's march stance instead. Go here. Because you can't march stance at the end of the move, and then no, we're still fine. So you can switch back to channeling and still be close enough. And Beledna the Defender, you've got the cannons now, which can help out. Lovely. Alright, and hopefully this will be a big chunk of the remaining strength to Grimgor, and we will then easily be able to take some of the territories here. Also, who's here? Oh, Goldtooth. Huh. I wonder if Goldtooth will like us. Wait, generally Goldtooth is friendly with Grimgor, but I'm not sure that he is in this particular campaign. And oh, speaking of Grimgor, he's still at strength rank 8, so he definitely has other armies around. Most likely he has at least 1 or 2 full stacks here, as he was destroying Zatan and was locked in a war with him for quite the while, so there is that. Anyway, who's up next? Ooh, we got an Ataman choice. Frostmaiden ally versus Orthodox Loyalist. Once again, we're probably not recruiting Frostmaidens forever, so we'll just keep on doing the Orthodoxy Loyalist and the Patriarch stuff. Especially because this gives us experience gain plus 5% for characters, all characters faction wide. That's much better. Alright. Plus it amuses me that it's appeased the Orthodoxy when the Orthodoxy is no more, effectively. Or at the very least are merely a tool in Tzarina's arsenal or something along those lines, I'm paraphrasing here. Anyway, who else needs to move? Yeah, you guys will move in a sec, don't you worry. But Ledna. Alright, let's move you this time since we do have a little bit of cash to spend. 40 and 3. 40 and 3. What about down here? 40 and 3. Damn. Alright, I guess it's all 40 and 3. Bleakhold Fortress, rather. Please don't die. Hey, success. Alright, 18. Just trying to get to the Scholar there. And who are you again? Musa Taraska. Oh, right. You are going to help with the recruitment by recruiter Talichev. He has a minus 15%. You don't have a base recruiter reduction, do you? No, you need to actually level up for that. That's alright. We'll do that.
Frost.
You can, I guess, join this army immediately, and then, just so I don't forget, we can probably transfer you there, but we'll have to do so next turn. Alright, let's do some building. Erengrad, you are very critical, so we'll build a tribal enclave there. We do have the option of building pottery, which will increase our income from all markets faction-wide, but once again, I feel like we probably should build Frostholm here. Which also does give us a hero capacity for Frost Maidens. I guess it's the only landmark that does. +3 at max. I think we're maxed out. We'll probably never get more than we currently have. Wait, 7 out of... Oh, right, we got 3 from the Confederation anyway. Okay, wait, I went to the wrong thing. Frostholm. Income from trade tariffs +10%, probably not a crazy amount of money. This gives us capacity for heavy worslets and little grums and reduces their upkeep, plus that Frost Maiden capacity. It doesn't do much crazy stuff. I think the unfortunate aspect of these things also is, for some reason, the Kislev landmarks don't provide any kind of defensive garrison. Which feels weird to me. Does the Citadel of Prague, even the Citadel of the Great Defensive Bastion which sits above the city, does provide no defensive garrison? Oh, come on, game. Come on now. Yeah. So, once again, Frostholm versus Clay Pit. At max level, this gives us additional campaign movement range. I'm a little bit worried about the Fecondites attacking us, and if you're wondering why I haven't claimed Norden or Castle von Rauken, it's just proximity to the Fecondites. The ruins currently are acting as a barrier, and might be keeping them from attacking us for that little extra bit longer. Temple of Manan at the max level gives us construction costs for ports all regions faction-wide at 15%, which ain't bad. But it doesn't give us any growth or anything like that, and it'll still be a while before Erengrad gets all the way up to that tier. Funnily enough, with 2% upkeep, this is probably not so much. This might be more worth it. You know what? Let's go for the Linskbridge instead. It gives us additional money in this territory, and I think the additional money from it will be more than what we would gain from the upkeep reduction, which is pretty minimal there. Anyway. At least while we don't have more warsleds. We will be needing to recruit here, so first we're going to switch to relief columns in Prague, and we'll obviously retool the buildings here, as we'll need to build the landmarks as well. Tzarina Katarin, you should probably fight, but we have other little fights. Let's do this little manual fight real quick. And then we'll do the Daniel fight, and then we'll do the Blue Vipers fight, and then we'll go onward and upward. Gotta push back as many of these enemy factions as we can before Tamarkan redeclares war on us in 10 turns. As I do think he will be an issue, especially as outside of your Ogni and Gotrek team, the... sorry, Felix, left you out of that one. And Ulrika just stopped existing for some reason. Yeah, it'll be very tough to bring Tamarkan's model down. Very, very tough. Anyway, you guys are gonna go and annoy the enemy horses. Like so, we don't really need to Vanguard deploy too much further, though. Let's say here. Let's harass the enemy a little bit. Until they are ready to close the distance with our pile of Cossars. Like so, like so. You can Vanguard deploy, but do you have your horse? Oh, you do have your horse. Okay, well then you can go up here with these guys and help them out a little bit. And like so. I'm gonna put you guys in a separate mob. Let's say group 3, group 1, and group 2. You know what, let's swap those around. Like so, Drijan out front, you're gonna be good. Alright, good. Good. And speed up to max while we get into position. You guys get a few volleys on those horses. You're not gonna be doing anything crazy to them, but whatever. And maybe even just sort of separate yourselves out a little bit so that you're not attacking at the same time. Okay, yeah, whatever. Alright, good. Good. And good. Alright, something like that. And, okay, don't get in range of those guys. No, you're not in range. You're fine. Drijan is attacking. Good. You are all in skirmish mode. Speed it up again. But be wary of skirmish mode, generally speaking. Alright, fine. It looks like the spears want to charge you. Alright, well, we'll just keep annoying the enemy until the other units decide to charge you. Ooh, you're gonna get hit by axes, so let's back you away. You guys start backing away this way, but keep on skirmishing with the enemy horsemen. And skirmish... What the... the skirmish mode is on, and they literally got charged by marauders. Regular freaking marauders. Oh, skirmish mode, I hate you. Why are you like this? Alright, everybody else keep attacking. You guys can just back off. And, oh, the Tzarina actually doesn't have skirmish mode. That's curious. Alright, you guys can go back into the fight, I guess. Let's not have these guys in just the middle of a shootout with the marauder horses. They'd win, but they'd take more damage than we'd like, probably. Alright, back off. And how's the skirmishing, quote-unquote? And, ooh, the enemy lord is coming. You know what? If he wants to go after a Tzarina, I'm happy with that, because we can probably lead him towards the enemy line. Oh, wait. Is this the other horseman unit that decided to go this way? Ignoring. Okay, fine. You keep chasing those guys around. You guys, Tzarina, attacking something. Alright, enemy horses are in pretty bad shape. I'd love to speed it up, but I mean, this army is based on doing a lot of skirmishing, so can't really escape that aspect of this. Even during little mini battles like this. At least that Marauder Spear unit is pretty much done, and the enemy still has a ways to travel towards our main line. Alright, hey, don't get into a shootout with those guys. Guys, okay, turn off skirmish mode. Another issue with skirmish mode is sometimes the unit just won't obey your orders because they think, oh, this moving like this will screw up our skirmishing. But your skirmishing was already screwed up. Alright, the rest of you, okay, turn skirmish mode back on, keep on fighting. And you can slow down the enemy lord, and you can slow down this little unit, and then you can back off, and then once that is up, we will have you activate your Tormentor's Sword. Alright, don't get into a shootout with the axes. The axes are better than you, or at least they do more damage. How are we out here? You didn't get caught, did you? No, you're good. Alright, you're good. The enemy lord is coming. Tormentor's Sword activate, and back off again. Oh, that's why I was so happy to get the Tormentor Sword in this army, and if we can get another one or two, that would be great. Though we won't need it nearly as much once we have more Kshina ambushers and more whatchamacallums. More heroes. More ways to slow the enemy down, effectively. And down goes the enemy lord by the looks of it. One more volley will finish him. The snow's so bright we can't quite see the arrow rain, but this guy saw plenty. He's probably more arrow than man at that point. Alright, the rest of you just keep skirmishing. I'd like you to chase down those horsemen to make sure that they cannot return to the fray. You can do the same thing here. Turn off skirmish mode. You guys keep on skirmishing, but also back up so that you don't get killed by the enemy Marauder Hunters with javelins, as they will most definitely defeat you in a duel. What are you doing? No, no, no. How did you get... skirmish mode. Okay, run around them. Just return to the main line if you're going to be like that. Can't be trusted. And, oh, they're attacking the Tzarina. Okay, I was like, wait, are they in range of the rest of the units? We should be able to outrange at least base enemy units. Or just Norscan range in general, because they're not going to be particularly long range. Alright, good. Good, you guys move on forward. In fact, you probably run through like this. Since I turned off your skirmish mode, you probably won't panic nearly as much. There's still this unit of Marauder Hunters with javelins, but I don't want to get these guys into melee with them. Because they'll die, and frankly, the Marauder Hunters will probably shatter anyway. You know what? You guys melee attack this unit of Marauder Hunters that's running to make sure that they don't come back, and then we'll speed it up to max as the last of the enemy units melt away. They'll probably all shatter, or those that remain will probably shatter. There we go, that's Unit 1, Unit 2, don't need the Tormentor Sword, and yeah, that unit will shatter, and the settlement will be ours. A little bit more damage on the step distractions, but nah. They'll heal up over the end turn without a problem, I'm sure. And it sounds like it's a lot of damage. Certainly it's not two of these units dying like the auto-resolve was deciding. Alright, and if we... I forget, is this army complete or is it missing 3 units? I think it's missing 3 units. We need at least one Frost Maiden or one Witch to slow enemies down. I think we can forego Patriarchs in this particular army, or at least that's the idea. Hopefully they won't be needed. Maybe we'll put one in just in case for emergencies. Either way, we'll occupy Sarl encampment. Charm Shield, Bailiff, and Province secured. Lovely. And since the province has been secured, we're going to spend a little bit of ooh, that's actually fairly expensive. Okay, lose the Oblast Hollow here. Switch to Purge the steps for quick movement, as we're going to need that in this particular place. I see Wolfric the Wanderer is around here. So we'll need to pay attention to that, so that he doesn't move in and try to claim Erengrad for himself. What I wanted to do was send send the construction reducer Ataman to Trollheim Mountains to build up the, build up the stuff here. I guess what we can do is build up the Stanitsa here, so that we can immediately, we won't be able to build the harbor anyway. But we'll be able to build up something, and next turn, either way, we'd be able to build up this Stanitsa. Then we can do the market square here, so that we can level up to next tier next turn. And then the Eerie Woods as well, so we can start building Akshina ambushers for Igor's army, and then transfer those guys away. We have another choice of it's not a choice of Ataman, it's just Ataman stuff. You make money and give us control. Which province? 2.2k is pretty good. Probably you. Yeah. Right? 2.2k here. Plus 20 control, though. This one has a lot less control. Alright, go here. Plus 5. Well, why is it so difficult to get a plus 10? And then you, reducer, go briefly to Trollheim Mountain. No, I lied. Why must I lie? You're at Karak Vlag because we wanted to increase or reduce the cost of this, and now we were keeping you around so that we could build up the town. Well, there's probably nothing else. You know what? Reducing one building isn't going to be nearly as worth it as several buildings, and more expensive buildings at that, so to Trollheim Mountains you go. Lovely. Alright, and I'm just going to assume that the other Ottomans are fine as they are. Now, it's time to knock out Danny Boy for good, so that he don't come back. Let's level you up. You got 3 points, and I do believe you have everything that you need. Oh no, actually you want battle engineers for the war sleds. Technically, you can also use creatures of the land. And since you're not defending, that's probably the way to do it. Alright, so creatures of the land to power up your two frost worms. Good. Patriarchs, you both have Red War Chant available, and once again, I used to always do healer for Saliak's Lullaby, but now I feel Thunderous Orator is better because of the usefulness of Tor's Battle Hymn, and the fact, of course, that Saliak's Lullaby is limited in use. Yeah, alright, Thunderous Orator again. The only thing that makes me consider this is the additional replenished troops, but with Patriarch already in an army, the replenished troops is already probably fine. Retinue Physician and... what are you missing? What are you missing that the other guy has? As the Warbear Sons of Kislev, 1 point in We Are the Elite, 1 point in Great Orthodoxy, which... I don't know. Oh, you don't have Sons of Kislev, you don't have Red War Chant. Whoops. Alright, that was just me being an idiot. You. I think unlike the other army... Well... Actually... I was gonna say you should use Eagle Eye for the additional item drop chance, and the campaign movement range. You know, Tzarina Katarin's army, if it gets ambushed, it won't die. This army, if it gets ambushed, it's gonna be in pretty horrible shape, but nonetheless, I'll think about it. I do use the Frost Maidens to fight in melee more than I would normal mages, but it's not like the increase to their melee attack is going to make them particularly good in melee, they're just there to sort of hold the ground. Now, ooh, this is actually going to take some effort, yeah. We could attempt to sit out here and allow these guys to sally out and attack us, but the thing is, with Epidemius on the approach... Ooh, just out of curiosity.
I can kill you with great expediency.
Yeah, okay, Epidemius, we'll see about that. Yeah, he doesn't want Volcano's Heart. What about the Crystal Spires? No, he doesn't want either. Okay, well, he'll claim that, but that's fine. Not a big deal. We weren't looking to hold it anyway. Anyway, let's do this fight, shall we? Ooh, wait. Just because you have access to this stuff doesn't mean you don't have access to other things, like more spells. We could put 1 point in Death Frost in case we need to use it on Danny Boy, but would we be casting it over Heart of Winter? I'd say not the most likely. Let's get another point in Guardian Call. Let's put 1 point in Death Frost. Alright, that sounds good to me now. And this army has decent mana. Not crazy mana, but decent mana. Go.
such paltry mongrel dogs they send against us. We could kill them in our sleep.
Alright, here we go. Bear Riders surge forth with the Frost Realms together with them, and it's time to take down the Howling Fortress. And Danny boy, perhaps the settlement is aptly named for the hells of rage of this demon prince at, well, what he can and cannot do. Now, the enemy does have nearly 2 stacks full of defenders here, so quite a bit. We're going to certainly have to be careful. Gonna bring down that gate first, and then we'll see what happens after we make it on in. Of course, the enemy does have towers up and running, and the enemy does periodically activate these ones as well, which is unfortunate considering our very, very fragile Kossars will get ripped apart if they get close enough. So what we're hoping to do is by breaking through the enemy gate to draw all the enemy units around. The enemy does have a tendency to get units off the gates, or off the walls rather, once the gates have been breached. So let's see if it'll be willing to do that here. Now, we do have a limited time on all of our units here. On the one hand, we do have a massive amount of debuffs going on the enemy between the White Cloak of Ulrich and all the other stuff that we have, especially in combination with the Tor's Battle Hymn. We can get the enemy's attack down very, very low. So currently Daniel's down to only 16 melee attack when the Tor's Battle Hymn is up. That said, we will still take damage over time, especially during the times that Tor's Battle Hymn is not up and running. So we got to do as much damage between the Frost Worms, Mortis Engine effects, and the Heart of Winter or Hearts of Winter to the enemy army before we have to back off. And when we will back off is when we run out of Saliak's lullabies. Looks like our summoned Snow Leopard got pretty much obliterated here, but the Heart of Winter has certainly, by the looks of it, done its damage. Where's our mage? I want to see how much that did. Alright, there we go. Now, speaking of our mage, still losing about 30% of her HP, 76.5 thousand damage for one use of Heart of Winter, as well as one use of Frost Maiden's Kiss. Pretty good, all things considered. Anyway, the Bilious Thunderguff has joined the fray, and unfortunately, this blob of units of ours, or this command squad, if you can count that, if you can count Frost Worms as part of a command squad, they're not very good at killing single entities, like this Bilious Thunderguff. That's what our Kossars and our war sleds are for. Unfortunately, the enemy has still not gotten off those walls. We've got time though. I think we've used about 2 of our Saliak's lullabies so far and continue to do damage, while we still have 4 uses of it remaining. And just gonna see who's going to win the attrition war and whether we have to push our Kossars towards the gate while under fire from the enemy tower. Certainly something we would like to avoid, but this army is semi-specialized in this by virtue of its aura stacking debuffs against the enemies. And does, however, look like the Bilious Thunderguff has done a pretty massive amount of damage to Yaslav, the Frozen of our 2 Frostworms here. Giants are pretty damn solid at dishing out massive amounts of damage against single entities. So that's hardly surprising, especially against single entities like the Frostworms, which aren't going to be very good at targeting enemies' single entities. They are, however, going to be very good at giving us some much, much flashier animations than we get from the Giant. So I think they'll carry the day in that regard, at the very least. Our second Heart of Winter comes down. Looks like some Plague Bearers are trying to make it on out of there, but they're pretty darn slow at 7 move speed. Between the 3 move speed now, and it'll be 0 as soon as they melt away, which shall be in seconds. Right, Heart of Winter continues to drop some Centigores of Tzeentch, who look to be wiped out to a single gore. And it looks like these single or low model entities are left here. The Bilious Thunderguff, the weird spawn, which is even healthier than the Thunderguff by the looks of it, is a fairly scary unit, applying armor sundering as well as being generally very tanky. There's an enemy Chaos Sorcerer in there, and it looks like the enemy has more troops to draw upon as well. Fairly large amount of them. In fact, we're going to have to get Yaslav the Frozen out of there, as he's starting to take way too much damage, and we're going to keep him out here to allow him to heal up while we start sending in the light war sleds and the Kossars. They are going to start taking damage to the enemy towers, but hopefully we can clear those walls with the copious application of arrows to them, and then stop the towers firing. And by the looks of it, if these guys want to stand out here on the corner, they'll get sniped off those walls. Like they heard me. Totally not that I've played the battle. Anyway, we still keep the Drake of the North in the midst of the enemy, and it's still providing that lovely Mortis Engine effect at 34k damage. Nothing too crazy, admittedly, but still pretty good. Though I would imagine there is the minor issue of when there were the two Drakes, they were probably... well, actually, no. I was about to say they were probably interfering with each other's area effects, but there's a limit on the amount of enemies, I believe, that these guys apply their stuff to. Affects enemies in range 2, meaning they won't interfere with each other like a Mortis Engine would. Alrighty, how's that Bilious Thunderguff looking? Down to nearly half HP now. We do have the advantage of the Thunderguff standing right in the midst of that gate where the Streltsy upon our light war sleds can fire at it. This is one of the reasons we have them in this army, and they're pretty decent at dealing damage to single entities like this. Although, because I suppose the giant... oh, something knocked the giant down, damn. Somebody has a lot of... mass or stagger potential. Must have been one of the frost worms, as I sincerely doubt one of the bears would be able to have done that. Anyway, as I was saying, the Kossars are doing pretty decent at dashing out the damage to the Thunderguff as well, dropping below half HP at last. And the enemy are still active on those towers, forcing one of our first Kossar units away, and the second one will be running shortly. It's time to send units up on the walls. We can't have those towers continuing to be active. What we can continue to have active is another Heart of Winter, the third one, I believe, and yet another Frost Maiden's Kiss. At least our mage is cleaning up today, though she's down to less than half of her HP and has activated her healing cap as well. 160k damage and over 400 kills, not too bad at all. Alrighty, I believe we're down to one use of Saliak's Lullaby left, or... yeah, I think it's one. And everybody's started to reach their healing caps. Yaslav the Frozen's got his healing cap, and the Patriarch, or one of the Patriarchs does as well. Danny Boy is still alive, though the Bilious Thunderguff is looking the worse for wear with only 600 HP remaining, but I'm sure it'll be 300 soon, and it'll be nothing right after. Down goes the Thunderguff. Looks like Danny's not quite in the gate where we can fire through it like we could at the Thunderguff, but it's okay. And not so bad. Some Seekers of Slaanesh. No, those are Hellstriders of Slaanesh, together with some Nurglings and even more Plague Bearers. These guys certainly have a lot of Nurglite units. And Danny continues leading the rest of them, but he's down to about half HP, and every time he moves around every time he moves close to the gate, we can fire through it at him. Plus, with the enemy having cleared the walls, we're able to fire down onto the blob as well. Just gotta survive or last a little bit longer with our last Saliak's Lullaby. Time to send in the rest of our units as well. The war sleds will enter the enemy settlement now and see if they can't get a few shots into the enemy's flanks, or maybe get a few nice charges into their rear as well. You heard me. Anyway, looks like down to half of that healing cap on Yaslav the Frozen here. And the Drake of the North is fighting Danny, who's been pushed away towards the wall, but where he cannot be fired upon. I'm gonna send the Warbear Riders in, or as in the Warbear riding Lord and Hero, not the Warbear Riders unit. but it looks like that will be sufficient, and Daniel will at last begin to melt away. He did manage to do 23,000 damage to us, which is very solid. So impressive little last stand for him, but he will get surrounded and at last ripped apart. It looked like one of the frost worms actually took him there. Very nice. That said, the weird spawn is still alive, outlasting both Daniel and the bilious Thunderguff, perhaps unsurprisingly, as it is a much smaller entity. Even, oh damn, those Sandgors charge fast. What the heck is their speed? 53 speed, yeah, it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. We're gonna have to get those war sleds the heck out of there, lest they get overrun by plague bearers and by the war sleds. And back up to where we can hopefully reach those Sandgors, etc. with our Tor's battle hymn and reduce their attacks. We're certainly gonna need it. It looks like they're not heading up the walls, however, as we continue both firing over them and down from them. And by the looks of it, the enemy mortal units at least are shattering. The demons are still there, but now it's just a matter of time until we force them all into banishment. Unstable, charge on through those plague bearers, move away the light war sleds lest they get too damaged and by the pink horrors before moving back in. And damn, that certainly took some effort. Look at all those healing caps. Yaslav's below 50%. Yeah, everybody's healing cap is present. But hardly surprising, as we have used the last of our Thaliak's lullabies. Keep having to remember the name of those skills, and it's keep making me pause every time. Not to worry, Plain of Kislev, and it'll start being second nature. Alright, last of the plague bearers are melting away, the pink horrors are gone, and I do believe with that, the battle is at last ours. Okay, there's a couple of units back here, but they'll start melting as soon as we get to them, and now, Sandgors, you should have routed with the rest of the units. There we go, they'll rout upon contact, and alright, fine, we can get a few more shots of pink horrors getting ripped apart. I certainly don't mind. Here come the bears, here comes the second frostworm. These guys are slowed down. 4 speed, 5 melee attack, 0 melee defense. Got to love those stacking debuffs. Not that the pink horrors had high stats and those particular stats anyway, but anyway, that should finally be the last of the unit on the field, and with that, the Howling Citadel will fall. Alrighty, a very nice fight. The enemy certainly held us back for quite a while, and the game is appropriate in calling this a close victory. It was close. In fact, it was closer even than it seems here. As we can see, all of our single entities were quite badly hurt. We had run out of the Saliak's lullabies at the end, or actually close to the middle, and the issue with that would have been that we would have had to back off every single entity. They wouldn't have been particularly good, or they wouldn't be able to fight on par, let's say, with the Demon Prince, the Weird Spawn, the Bilious Thunderguff, all of those guys, without the Saliak's battle hymns keeping them up and running. Still, 175,000 damage on the Frost Maiden of Ice from repeated uses of that Winter's Heart, and solid damage on the Patriarchs and Vladimir Mikheyev, as well as 72 and 67k damage on the 2 Frostworms. Very instrumental in knocking out the piles of enemy units, especially considering this army is one of the, well, the weaker army because it's just made up of basic Kossars. So we gotta use everything in our arsenal in order to make sure that they don't lose. Another reason why this army is able to do what it does with just the single entities fighting is you can't forget that we have the White Cloak of Ulrich here as well with the melee attack minus 10, and the Iron Ice armor with the melee attack minus 10, and I believe one of the Patriarchs has a Glittering Scales, and the other Patriarch has a Helm of Discord, and we have the Warrior Bane here for weapon damage reduction, and the Featherfoe Torque for any flying unit. So there's a lot of damage debuffs happening at once, which is what's allowing these guys to sort of stay in the fight for quite the while longer than you would think. I think for this one we're just going to regularly occupy it rather than loot and occupy it, and we got to keep the tavern, which will be a nice boon to our campaign movement range, which we'll certainly need. I think Snowflake Pendant, Legion of Chaos destroyed. Yes, I think we're going to start having to not loot and occupy the territories of Chaos here and start holding on to them. Either we get to Malice and we peace out with him and we give him the territories and it works, or at that point he hates us so much because of what we're doing to Epidemius that's not going to be possible. We can try the same with one of the Norscan factions, and if it doesn't work, we'll just have to look into keeping the Chaos Waste. Build churches all over the place there. Somebody also pointed out in the comment, I don't know, many episodes ago now, comments, rather that you could use a commandment, apparently, to negate one of the debuffs from the Chaos provinces, but I don't see anything that would negate anything here. I wonder if it has to do with research or whether it has to do with something else. Also, invocation available. Oh, we actually had enough. Damn. I should have done that before taking the Howling Citadel, because I'm sure you guys all leveled up. Nonetheless, we're going Salyak again, as we always do. We don't care about the supporters anymore, but the growth and the casualty or punishment rate are very, very nice. But soon, I think, we'll be ready to switch from Salyak to Dodge for that income from all buildings plus 10%. Not quite there yet, but certainly approaching the time. At this time, however, especially with the new provinces acquired, we do want Salyak. The other stuff is physical resistance in our own territory, which we don't really care about. So Urson is, funnily enough, kind of not great in terms of just for your faction. Tor has the control bonus as well, but our control is pretty okay. So I think Salyak into Dodge one more time at least for Salyak go. And there we go, Motherland invoked. Once again, should have done that before leveling, but, well, what can you do? What can you do? I honestly didn't think we'd have anywhere near enough, and we clearly just got to enough. Oh, maybe we actually only got to enough once we took the territory. There's also that possibility as well. Oblast, you know what? If we trade the place, we might want to keep it. Though, on the other hand, if we replace it with a church, and churches are very cheap, we could probably just, yeah, don't collect the income. We could probably just get to work on getting rid of all the chaos corruption, so at the very least we don't take the attrition from the forces of chaos there. And yeah, with Salyak up and running, we're healing quite nicely despite being in red territory as well. Now, who is going to move next? Tzarina Katarin has to move. We still have to also fight the Black Orcs here, and probably have some buildings to build that I'm not recollecting other than Erengrad. So, Fort Ostrosk. Let's start with your trade quorum. A moment. I guess we could put this guy in here, but we probably wouldn't save as much money anyway. What do we want to build here? Well, technically we want to build the Manor of the Ice Queen because it'll increase the income from all buildings in the place by a fair bit, so we could save the spot until we actually have enough devotion to do it. And another 15% growth at 1,000 gold. I think maybe not worth it. You know, let's do this in order. And then we'll go jump into the next battle. You're still too expensive, I think. Fort Jakova. I don't think we're upgrading to the Griffin Legion building yet, especially considering we don't really need to, now that we have Prague, which has the Griffin Legion landmark, or will, as soon as we build it. This one, the Bleakness, upkeep reduction for Griffin Legion, and capacity for them as well, though not as much as you'd think, even at tier 2, at only +2. Maybe we'll have to keep that Zargard building there, but we won't have to build it necessarily. I guess we're waiting to reduce the cost of the Silent Grove for a turn and whatever else here, so we'll wait on that and help it. Let's just build you up immediately. I don't want to waste time transferring a transferring a reducer lore down there. Tribe Slaughter and Pillar of Skulls. We can build you two up now and repair Carrick Doom, I guess. At least I hope so. And we'll probably immediately want to build, I guess, the market. We will need public order here, but it should stabilize once we've taken the territories. We also got to remember that Boris is at the Tower of Torment, or at the very least his faction was, so perhaps we can attempt to revive him there. We'll see. And with his with the Chaos Corruption dropping here, that would negate the possibility of a Chaos Rebellion, which might guarantee Boris's revival. We also will need to send Vladimir Mikheyev to deal with Epidemius, but that's fine. I actually don't remember. Do you have the Epidemius' defeat trait, or did somebody else? Defeated Azazel, Demon Prince, and now. Okay, so you can defeat him. Actually, once again forgot what his defeat trait was. Slave of the Godslayer, Doomslayer, here we go, Enumerators, and research rate and immunity to contact effects. Oh, right, yes, that's actually very strong. Well, the immunity to contact effects, at the very least, is. Southern Oblast, you're good. We got a lot of stuff to build here. Okay, we'll definitely need the reducer guy here. Although, we can at least build the farmstead and replace the churches here with the hallowed woods. Honestly, if we fill up the entire Chaos Wastes with churches rather than bothering to build hallowed woods there, it would allow us to build farms and hallowed woods in green territories here, which would make them cheaper. On the other hand, nobody's liable to attack the Chaos Wastes after the enemies have been cleared out there, so we could still use the territory. It's just going to be quite the investment, let's say. I think we'll get the reducer guy here to reduce the cost of all these, although I could just start on building them. Once again, they'll take a while to pay for themselves, but if there isn't anything better to spend the cash on... Well, I suppose there is the aspect of... Oh, right, Kislev. Do we want the reducer guy to come here for the Grand Citadel? Actually, it won't do too much for us, other than generate devotion. I think we can skip that one. There was a reason I didn't get it immediately. Great Skull Lakes, Uzkalek, you're also all at tier 2. Well, Uzkalek itself might want to upgrade this. Okay, we'll definitely want to get the reducer guy here to upgrade Fort Dorjny-Vort and start on the markets now that the place is reasonably safe. But anyway, as I was saying, we could save some money for the massive amount of upgrades that will be required at Prague, and the fact that we have to do a bunch of recruitment over the next few turns. Anyway, let's... Okay, 1 second. I am getting a phone call. Okay, 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Let's jump on, and well, let's level up and then jump on. And Gorger Rock is a field battle, but it's got some, well, decent defense. Well, actually nothing crazy. It's just that the 6 Black Orcs in the field are still going to be an issue even with the cannons, so I think we will still probably want to level, even if it ain't all that much. You don't need Ambusher, but you can take Rally. We can double check what these guys are missing, but they're looking pretty okay. Retinue Valet for you, and if nothing else, that'll provide additional magic items. And the Frost Maiden. Max out Heart of Winter, I suppose. Oh, you know what? Let's start maxing out Scouting now. Let's get even more magic item drop chance. And then you two, I think, are fine. Minus you, Patriarch. You were looking to get Salyak's Lullaby and Tor's Battle Hymn. And I guess we could level this one up as well. Sons of Kislev for you. Not that it's super relevant. We just want the Red War Chant eventually. Max out Daja's Song, Winter Sunlight. And I guess go for Tough as Nails. Alright. The rest of that seems fine. Now, Victor Zaman, head to Gorger Rock. Pyrrhic Victory, high casualties, most likely due to the presence of the Black Orcs, but I'm sure we'll be okay. Go.
A hard fight beckons, but know that Mother Kislev strengthens her faithful defenders.
Alrighty, a hard fight does beckon, as there are 6 Black Orcs to contend with, in addition to all the other sorted enemy units. I wonder if the Družina says that a hard fight beckons if it's a basic, easy fight with, like, just a couple of enemies. Did they bother to tie that particular speech to, like, auto-resolve predicting it to be a defeat of some kind or something? I do wonder. But anyway, we're set up pretty nicely. We've got the river just ahead and a nice little hill to fire down from. We are having our little Groms target a few of the enemy Black Orcs as best they can. They're the very, very threatening units on the enemy team, and a Black Orc unit will absolutely wreck the armored Cossars in a melee, no doubt about it. And I'm not even talking about the Great Axe wielding variant. Even the Black Orcs with shields will be able to rip Cossars apart. So we got to remove their numbers as best we can, even if the little Groms aren't going to be particularly strong at knocking down massive numbers of them, and would be better used to destroy the or would at least be more effective or efficient, let's say, at destroying the boar boys of various kinds. Once again, the boar boys aren't going to be a threat, they're going to be an annoyance, but they will die fairly quickly due to their fragility. Whereas the Black Orcs, not so much, so we gotta knock them out. And I guess the same thing goes for trolls. Looks like we took out a solid number of these ones so far, down to 60 out of 100 units, and it looks like that has sufficiently annoyed the enemy to start booking their way towards us. Got a nice little setup in terms of our army here. The enemy does have a Goblin Great Shaman, but he only has Vindictive Glare, as well as an Orc Shaman who does have Brain Burst and Gaze of Mork, but we'll see if they try to actually draw close to cast anything but the magic missiles. You gotta be relatively close to cast that Brain Burst after all. Alright, well, here comes the enemy. Keep on firing, little Groms. Make them fear your thunder. Very nice lighting in this map as well. I like the fog over the river. Alright, looks like the enemy is heading down into the water. Hopefully that will slow them down sufficiently for our Cossars to get a nice few numbers of volleys into the enemy. I'm gonna get that shot, I forget what it's called. Tal's Judgment, I believe. Yes, Tal's Judgment off from our Družina. Slow down the enemy with that ice sheet as they cross. Too bad it doesn't freeze the water, but oh well. And the enemy's taking pistol and arrow fire now as they're slowed down trying to get to us. Gonna back the Patriots off so that we don't kill them with our own units, and as soon as the enemy moves on in, we can activate our Tor's Battle Hymn. Here come the Orcs, charging on into the shielded Cossars who are out front. We are keeping our elite units, the Watchmen in the night in the back, getting ready to send them in to make mincemeat, at least out of all the regular Orcs. The Black Orcs are going to be a much bigger issue here. Alright, pistol fire continues to well fire, and here come the Black Orcs who have entered the fray at least. Over on this side, shielded units here, and shielded units there. Cold Steel Company will do their best to hold them off as long as they can while we dish out as much damage to the rest of the enemy army. The enemy army has also looped around us, sending a unit of Orc Boys and Orc Boy Biggins and Orc Boar Boys around, and we are going to have to hold them back with the Armored Cossars and one of our units of the Watchmen in the Night who have been sent to reinforce. Over here, we've got reinforcements coming in 1 second, and at the very least, the Dwarfen Cannons will be able to play. And hopefully fire into the backs of these boar boys and such that have attempted to flank. It's going to drop a hailstorm directly upon them while they're blobbed up in this manner. There we go, and hopefully that will also annoy them enough to keep away from running towards our cannons. Speaking of the cannons, they begin to fire into the back of the enemy Biggins just as the enemy army activates its wall and powers up its melee attack and damage. Well, good for them. Cannons keep on working. One will be targeting the boys while the other tries to work on the boar boys. And the rest of the battle is, well, still going. Over on the left flank, Yarogny has arrived with his command squad and is taking on a unit of Black Orcs with his units of Acolytes Vosun. Out here, another unit of Black Orcs has been pretty much destroyed, but it wasn't really so much the Acolytes here. As you can see, they've only killed 23 of them so far. And that was a unit that was heavily damaged by the little Groms as it was moving on in. Uragni's command squad is ripping apart the Black Orcs with great weapons with gusto here. And they can certainly look like a backhand with the axe there. These guys can certainly take the damage from the Black Orcs that the Acolytes of Ursun and the Khazars would, let's say, hesitate to do. Speaking of the Acolytes of Ursun, they're going to head on in towards the enemy Orc boys and further towards the enemy Orc Error boys to try to silence them at last. And there is another unit of great weapon-wielding Black Orcs here who are dishing out plenty of damage to our Khazars, armored and unarmored alike. This particular unit down to half HP. Even our Watchmen in the Night down to half, and another unit of armored Khazars below half HP as well. Certainly they're taking damage, but it looks like the enemy has blobbed up fairly nicely and is allowing our little Groms to fire into this blob here, which should be some pretty effective target practice for them. Alright, you were supposed to fire on cue, little Groms. There you... Okay, no, never mind. They were firing into this, but the boar boys they were targeting started to run away, so they're going to fire into their backs. We still hold the hill and have crossed to the other side of the water now, opening up additional distance between us, or between the orcs rather, and our archer Khazars, or our unarmored Khazars. Watchmen in the Night have joined over onto the left flank, or to the battle on the left flank, when the Bearkin have arrived to help out, as well as the Cold Steel Company have spent many minutes holding off the Black Orcs, and have done so even though they did get heavily damaged while doing so. There we go, Patriarch has moved on in. Now it's time to make sure that these elites aren't able to recover. Acolytes of Ursun versus Black Orcs. Kind of an interesting matchup, but I don't think the Acolytes have the armor piercing necessary to dish out too much damage to these guys. 130 armor, we've got 66 weapon damage, but only 22 of it is armor piercing. That said, we do have 40% physical resistance ourselves, and very high melee attack. Not that it'll matter for the Black Orcs, who will finally shatter together with their army, and this pretty darn epic battle will be ours. Very much enjoyed the position that we had in the lighting, making for some very, very nice shots in this particular battle. Alright. Very nice. Very, very nice indeed. Let's see what kind of victory this counts as. Alright, very nice. Ooh, a ton of cash for that one. Perhaps surprising, considered the Black Orcs were quite the issue for our Khazars. One of the Black Orcs doing nearly 14k damage. Very, very solid. Two of the Black Orcs doing nearly 14k damage, and all of them doing well in general as the enemy's ringers. Certainly much stronger than a lot of our Khazars, but a couple of them did manage to match. The Black Orcs also absolutely tore through this unit of armored Khazars with great weapons, and I think it was a shielded unit of Black Orcs facing off against the great weapon Khazars with their armor piercing, and yeah, terrible disparity in troop quality there. Poor Khazars got very much mauled, but that's okay, as we nonetheless carry the day. We're going to be able to occupy the place like so. Yes. And Victor Zaman, Armor of Silvered Steel, yeah, you can hold on to that. We don't really use you in melee. Yosef Mikheyev, another one of these Atomhan administrators. You can keep the Terrifying Mask of E, but, you really gotta figure out where to put these guys. Whoever needs the most healing. Mother Ostankia definitely needs one, because she doesn't have a healing witch at the current time. Tzarina Katarin, just wait. I'm not done with this. We are going to... we can't quite reach to transfer the cannons, can we? No, we can't. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. What we'll want to do then... Well, I guess we'll just sit here then. No, none of you can move anyway. I was going to transfer some units around. A couple, 3 Cossars with spears to Urogny. Take out these 2 Cossars with spears, put them in Beledna, or transfer Beledna's cannons to Victor. And then these 3 Cossars will probably be replaced by Streltsy, as just to power up the army a little bit. We really need that additional armor piercing for things like Black Orcs, as the AI techs to higher types of units, or higher tier types of units. And we'll need to move away from the basic Cossar units into more fighty stuff, unsurprisingly. Anyway, let's double check the Diplo, because I'm not sure that I did this turn. In fact, I didn't, or I would have done the probably pretty temporary trade agreement with Illyrian. Also, the donut is basically gone. Look at this. Eatane's down to 3 provinces, Avalorn is down to 4, Illyrian is down to 1. These guys are having a pretty bad time of it. It's kind of interesting. I wonder how hard Tyrion and Alariel's starts are now on the donut. But anyway, we will do the trade agreement temporarily, because they'll probably die before we can get too much mileage out of it. Now, what we do really want is a defensive alliance with some of the Cathayan factions. Namely, I really would like some war drums for the... would really like some war drums for... the western provinces might be dying, but the northern provinces are situated in a worse location. But nonetheless, war drums for the Streltsy. If we declare war on the Blessed Dread, that'll exactly give us a defensive alliance. So I think that's what we'll do. And at least it'll give us a vision of what's going on here. Oh, that'll also give us a vision of the of village, which ain't so great, let's say. But oh well. Out of curiosity, how much do you want for Beckhofen? 111. Yeah, we might be able to grab these and then trade it for Beckhofen later on, but right now, we're gonna hold off on that alliance. I don't think there's a crazy amount of benefit to us right now in that. Even the northern province thing is risky. Also, oh wow, Nangao must have gotten sieged or sacked by something. Damn, I was really hoping these guys... Oh, they do have recruitment of war drums available in Pomay. And some defenses there. Can we build this outpost in Pomay? Yes, indeed we can. And that's where we'll build it. We could also use some of their artillery pieces. But specifically, I think the war drums will work very nicely with them. They worked very nicely in the Malachi campaign when we combined them with rangers, and actually I did a couple of armies where I used them. And yeah, generally like support units. Power up the rest of the armies. But anyway, let's see. Plus, it makes the armies feel a little bit less monolithic when you're using like a single or 2 unit type army composition. A couple support creatures in there makes the army feel a little bit less bad by virtue of that. But anyway, you guys, get ready to attack the Blue Vipers. We can't just have them here. They'll eventually attack, and they're raiding us right now, so gotta be punished for that at least. Alright, you guys move on in. And I assume you're both in range, but I also assume that the Blue Vipers will run. I also know that we're very much out of time, but we should destroy them. Declare war, yes. No one will join us, but that's fine. They'll run, we'll chase them down. Okay, they won't run. But we'll still fight this. They got a couple Savage Giants, a lot of Savage Orc Boar Boys and stuff, and Pyrrhic Victory. Actually seems like a fun fight. Go.
Orthodoxy protects you! I protect you! Take not one step backwards!
You gotta love the sort of path, the ice path that the sled leaves. Anyway, here we go. Blue Vipers meet sled. Sled goes through their entire army, turns right back, and then does it all over again. And we're gonna summon that Snow Leopard just to keep the Savage Orc Boar Boys distracted so that they can't get in the way of the sled with their mass. Speaking of sleds, over on the other side, the heavy war sleds are firing into the piles of enemy Boar Boys who are being distracted by the Golden Knight and the other heroes. Alright, should be able to bring those boar boys down relatively quick. They do have their 40% physical resistance, as they are the Savage Orc variety. But I think we'll be fine. I'm gonna back off the war sleds as a different unit of Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins tries to charge in, or regular Savage Orc Boar Boys. The Snow Leopards take their charge, and then immediately the Winged Hussars charge on. And that then allows the war sleds to charge into the back of the poor Boar Boys, and they lose half their HP, get maimed, get their bones crushed, and will break and rout. We'll chase them down without a problem, while the rest of the army is still being distracted very much by Tzarina Katarin, and this is certainly something she seems to excel at. The entire enemy infantry blob essentially forced to engage with Katarin, while the faster moving units are ripped apart. Out here the enemy has sent in one of its Savage Orc Giants. Or is it just Savage Giant? I mean, it's not an orc, you know what I mean. That'd be a pretty big orc. But the giants aren't as scary to us as a rogue idol might be. Especially considering we don't have artillery to easily bring it down. Certainly had some fun battles against the some rogue idols in the Malachi campaign. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. The giant and the trolls are under fire from the heavy war sleds, though they do have to keep away from any additional enemies. But it looks like the trolls should be out of there fairly soon. In fact, are routing already, and the giant is down to half HP, with all of the war sleds focusing it down at the same time. Very nice. Looks like our infantry have arrived at last and are moving in to add the copious amounts of ice shard arrows to the fray. Enemy will get slowed down by an ice sheet down to 11 move speed when combined with the frostbite, whether it be from Tzarina Katarin's sled or from the ice guard. And there we go. Unfortunately for the Ice Guard, and I suppose the Tsar Guard as well, as we've seen, generally speaking, enemy armies need at least 2 stacks for our infantry to actually need to do anything, as Tzarina Katarin is pretty darn strong. She's going to drop a Heart of Winter on a few enemies, but it looks like they're, by and large, routing. Too bad for them. Now, the enemy lord has arrived as well and is going after our reinforcing lord, but we'll be pincushioned and ripped apart by the Ice Guard. You're gonna have to walk towards us for that shield to be effective, sir. Alrighty, and the enemy lord shatters, and with the lord, so does the rest of his army go. The Ice Guard rip the poor guy apart. The Savage Giant, or one of the Savage Giants, the second Savage Giant, was never able to join the fray as the first one was brought down with its pile of trolls. Back here, oh, looks kind of sad. Poor little guy. Oh well. Anyway, Blue Vipers, nice little bit of entertainment for us. Alright, very nice once again. Our reinforcing army didn't really have anything to do there, but that was hardly surprising. Tzarina Katarin's still an absolute menace on that sled. There's a sort of hidden aspect to the sled that I think you can't quite see. Well, I mean, it's not really hidden or accidental. It's the fact that by virtue of its speed and general annoyance, as we saw with that battle, she's able to sort of keep the enemy's infantry, at least, and some of their cavalry kind of locked in place. They can't really move because she keeps moving through their ranks, disrupting their formations, checking them around, forcing them to briefly engage with her and attempt to chase, and just sort of get logged down. This gives you sort of battlefield control in the sense that the units that do get separated from the main blob that Tzarina Katarin is occupying are picked apart quite quickly by the rest of your army, as we saw there and in every other battle. But anyway, 750 kills on her, 149,000 damage, and decent work by everybody else as well, as they divided and conquered conquered what they could. The Winged Hussars still doing good work so late in... since we got them, I guess, since we started with them. And not to worry, we'll be getting cavalry units relatively soon, as we're now starting to retrofit armies and get new things on the field. We're gonna need them against Tamarkan and the other things that, well, we're in a lot of wars right now, so yeah. Barely begun on Norska even. Pardon the captives, I guess? 3k isn't all that much, but nonetheless. This guy's gonna run, don't go around the mountain, and he did not. We'll chase him down. Another Van Horstman's, but you probably won't need it, and frankly, you won't need a Nomad Riding Master as well, as we're going to send you away. Hey, a Potion of Healing. That's a nice pickup, though. Alright, so... a vodka distiller. Okay, yeah, sure. Hold on to that speed elite kill so we can turn into something more useful, hopefully. Eugene, you're gonna go right here. You are going to go into March stance and go right here. You, Tzarina Katarin, are gonna chase down this guy, like so. And really? 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 Oh, you have gotta be... why does the auto-resolve hate Kislev? Why does the auto-resolve hate Kislev so much? Like, this is ridiculous. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna call it the episode here then. This is a complete waste of time, and frankly, we are way out of time as well. I'll do this little battle between the episodes, and then we'll start next episode off with ending the turn, and proceeding to next turn, and presumably more fights. So, stay tuned for more Ice Court. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.